choices. Okay, record on computer. Okay, I just said a bunch, but I'll start over. So for tonight, I am going to start with some videos, but the reason that I show you guys some things is not to take the place of the things that I believe or say or do or anything like that. It's just to hear it from someone else sometimes. Like I think a lot of times people will hear stuff from a different upline or a different person or a different coach or whatever it is, and it just resonates more. So I'm going to play a couple things tonight for us to talk about, and then I'm going to go over just the very, very beginning of this book really quickly. So if you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. Like I just picked it up last night and have read so much, where I love books like that. Like You Are a Badass was like that. I just kind of flew through it and it was very motivational, but this one is very action oriented. Yes, it's motivational, but it's like action steps of things to do, which is even better to me. So we're going to talk a few things about that. Of course, if you have questions, like jump in the chat, and we have a small group here, which makes it super easy to like unmute yourself and ask questions too. So please don't be scared to wave me down or anything like that. So let me share my screen here and find what I'm trying to, here we go. All right, you know, I save like all these messages to myself and stuff, guys, like people's posts. Like, again, this is what I do. I see people's posts and I send them to a message of myself, not because I'm going to copy and paste them, but I see them and I love them, or they show up in a sponsored ad and I'm like, well, that's certainly reaching the right kind of person. So let me rework this. Like, let them make, what made this work? Like, why is it really good? You know, even like picture ideas where I'm like, how can I make this me? So I do that a lot. I'm doing this training by Grace Lever, who is awesome if you want to look her up. But okay, so here's the first video by a girl named Angie Lee. And I'll start.
In the online space, are you making these mistakes in your health coaching business? These are the top 5 mistakes that I see in the online space for health coaches. I'm telling you these because I love you and I don't want you to make these mistakes as well. If you don't already know, my name is Angie Lee. I'm a business strategist for online entrepreneurs, specifically health and wellness professionals who are ready to turn their social media into sales. If you're jumping on, say hello, say where you're watching from, let me know any questions as we go along. I'm going to get right into the juicy content right now. We're not wasting time. Number 1, you're thinking short-term versus long-term. Woo! You network marketing ladies, I love you and I adore you, but thinking of your business short-term is really, really going to hurt you in the long run. You need to be thinking of your business in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. You really need to be thinking about it for the long run, not a quick buck, not how many packs or how many protein shakes or whatever products you are partnered with. You need to not be thinking about what can I sell this week or this month. You really need to strategically be thinking, how am I actually retaining customers for the long run? How am I actually creating a business that's sustainable, that has some organization and that has some systems to it and has some strategy to it? Not just, can I sell a bunch of protein shakes this month and make a bunch of money and then my business crashes? And those weren't really relationships that were built. They were just people from your warm market and then it's over and you just crash and burn, right? Because it's great to make money, but it's great to make sustainable money. And it's great to make money, but if you can't manage and sustain the money, then it's not really a business. It's just kind of an up and down hobby. So number 1, think of your business long-term. Is it going to be as fun and as sexy as the short-term benefits of making a bunch of money in 1 month of your business? No. But when you think about it long-term, it does a few things. 1, it takes the pressure off you to make a quick buck immediately overnight. Number 2, it really enforces to you that this is a sustainable long-term business, and you need to be thinking, what is this business going to look like in a year? What is this going to look like in 2 years for my family and for my future? Really thinking big picture versus I just need to make a quick buck. I just need to build a bunch of team members under me. I don't really care who they are. Just make me a bunch of money and then I'm going to be done. And that's not the way, especially as health coaches, that you should be thinking about things. Because you're in an industry of transformations and really changing lives. And once you get better at building those relationships, that's when your business starts growing. And as far as business coaches for Jen and I, we don't want to teach you how to make a quick buck in 1 month. We don't want to teach you how to even make a quick buck in a week, because then we're not doing our jobs. Our job is to teach you how to create a sustainable business, and that's where success is, right? Is creating something that can actually carry with you in 5 years, not just something you did for a year and it was fun and you made money, but then it just crashed and burned. So number two, you don't have business organization, systems, or strategies. You're just kind of messaging people all day. You don't know how you're interacting with them. There's no sort of system to your social media, to your attraction marketing, to your content creation. It is just a mess. You don't even know where your customers are. You don't know how you met them. You don't know when to re-invite them maybe to a group you're doing. It's just all over the place. You do not have a system or a strategy. I know Jen and I love Asana. We use that for our business right now. It's very, very user-friendly, I'll say, and it's extremely powerful for organizing your business. Because ladies, in the beginning of a business, whether you're doing health coaching or maybe network marketing, it's easy to do it kind of by the fly, right? And a little bit messy where you could just remember some clients here and there. But when you start to work with over, 5, 10 people, it's going to become a shit show if you don't have organization, which is exactly why Jen and I do what we do. And Jen, I know she's on, she is the ninja of organization, systems and strategies, because it's so, so important. And you are leaving money on the table if you are disorganized. Ladies, you are leaving money on the table if you are disorganized in your business. Like, can I get an amen? All right, let's get to number three. Number three, are you ready? You bought yourself a job. You didn't buy yourself or create an actual business. And what that means is when you buy yourself a job, it feels like this. Exhausting. It feels like you're going to burn out. It feels like you're going to pull your hair out. It feels like you're going to throw pencils in your eyeball. It kind of feels like you're doing everything and you're this one-woman show and you're about to go crazy. Ladies, one word, delegation. Delegation. You want to be a CEO, you want to be the owner of a business, you want to be uber successful, you need to learn to let go of that control, which I know is so hard sometimes because we're these over analyzing perfectionist women, but letting go of some of that and outsourcing and delegating when you need help. Because I don't think anything is more powerful in this world than dropping our egos and saying to ourselves, I need help. I need help. I can't do this on my own. I need help. And that's so beautiful, especially in men and in women and any business owner, to really just admit when you need to delegate and outsource. Because if something is not in your zone of genius, you do not need to be wasting time doing it. So example of this would be landing pages, website design, all of that stuff that kind of sucks, and unless you're a tech nerd, is not fun. So if you can get someone else to do that for less than you value yourself per hour, why are you wasting time doing it when you need to be focusing on the money-making activities of how to actually generate clients and get people to be working with you? Because let me tell you something, focusing on your logo and your website, that does not bring clients in. That does not bring clients in, right? And at the end of the day, what you ladies really want is more clients. That is what you want. It's not all about, oh, I need a better looking website. Listen, I can get you to someone right now to make you a beautiful website in 20, 30 minutes. What it's really about is saying, how can I be creating more content and working on my attraction marketing to be bringing in new clients? It's not, how can I spend 7 hours on my website today, right? So, I say this with love because there was a time about 5, 6 years ago when I would sit and work on my website for a month. And I wasted that whole month building my website when I could have been attracting some clients and reaching out to people and really building my business and making some money. But I was so obsessed with my logo and my website that I was so stuck in the mud. And I don't want to see you ladies doing that. I really, really think that that can be saved for the future. When you have your branding down, you have your niche down, you know who you are in this space, you have that solidified, then you can go on to building your website, getting your logo, all of the bells and whistles. But that's more of the fun, I'll say the front end of your business that needs to be done after you've done a lot of that internal work of figuring out who is your brand, who is your client avatar, what is your message, what does your marketing plan look like, all of those things that aren't as fun and sexy but are so, so necessary. Woo! Okay, number 4. A lot of health coaches, I'll notice, are pricing per hour versus per package. So ladies, don't get in that personal trainer mindset of charging dollars per hour and just really getting yourself into that rut of chasing the hour, right? And you're still just working for dollars. So what I think you need to be doing is assessing yourself as a whole for the value of the program. So let's say you created a 6-month clean eating kickstart weight loss program, right? Do not look at how many hours am I putting into this program and what am I worth per hour. No, look at the whole program as a whole and say to yourself, what is the investment of this entire program that I created? What do I feel like I'm worth for that 3-month, 4-month, 5-month, 6-month package that I'm presenting to my client? Same thing with network marketing. Let's say you're doing some consulting on the side of also selling a product. You need to say to yourself, how much am I worth as a whole for that entire month of health coaching, health consulting, not what am I worth exactly per hour? Because if you price yourself per hour forever, you're eventually going to burn out and you're really not creating a lucrative business. Number 5, the last one is you don't have a clear niche, which I'm going to save you ladies who follow me for a while. I'll save the spiel. You can go and watch some of my previous videos. But it's so important to pick a side of the fence and know what your message is, who you're talking to, and who you're not talking to, right? It's also good to know what you don't want to do and who you're not talking to in this industry. Because if you try to talk to everyone, you speak to no one. So those are my top 5 tips. 1, you're thinking short term and you're not thinking long term. It's so fun to think short term, especially when you're in network marketing. But what's really going to pay off for you and your family and your future is to be thinking about this long term. Number 2, you don't have business organization. You're throwing poop at the wall. Stuff is all over the place. There's no sort of organization or systems or strategies. So you're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall every day and it's not really sticking. You have no way to organize your client acquisition. It's a mess. Number 3, you bought yourself a job. You're running a one-woman show and you're exhausted and you're ready to pull all of your hair out. So this is where delegation is so powerful, and this is where delegation is going to feel like a massage and a spa day because you're going to get help, right? You're going to get help and you're working in your zone of genius then. And here's the thing about women and energy. I don't know about you ladies, give me a little heart. How many of you get exhausted and drained if you're doing things that are not in your zone of genius? You guys signed up to be health coaches. You didn't sign up to be a website designer, right? You didn't sign up to be a lead page manager or designer. You didn't sign up to do your Facebook ads. You signed up to be a health and wellness coach. So do that. Do that. Am I saying that you can't do some other parts of your business if you know how? Yes, in the very beginning, I think it's key to know all the elements of your business. But there does come a time and place, and you will know when that time is, when you need to get help and you need to get assistance. Number 4, pricing per hour and not per package. Price for the value of the entire package and what you provide. Do not price per hour. You'll be stuck. And then number 5, you don't have a clear niche. You're all over the place. Your message is like, I help women get healthy. Like, yay, I help women feel empowered and confident. And like, someone give me my barf bowl, right? You guys know who watch me. Like, like, what does that even mean? It's so vague and it's so random. And every girl and their mom is saying they want to help women feel confident in their skin, right? So it's a competitive market now in the online space. Your tagline needs to be clear, it needs to be niche, and it needs to have some awesome language around it. And if you need help with that, that's what we teach. So, any questions really quick right now? I'm going to stay on another minute, but I hope these tips were helpful because I love you guys, and I really want to see you be successful, and I want to see you have that massive clarity that you deserve in your business. And oftentimes, women are spinning their wheels for years and years because a lot of these things are not in place. So it's so important to take action. Absolutely. The things we spend so much time on, the busy work.
All right. I know it was 10 minutes. I stopped it short because it was just Q&A. So, but she kind of just said the same thing. I'm writing like more notes, even though I've watched this like 3 times today. But okay, if you don't follow this girl, like, I love her, and does not mean that you will love her, but she cusses in pretty much every other status that she posts, so I'm like all over her shit, and I love her. She is not a coach. She was never a coach. She is a business strategist, and her name is Angie Lee, Megan. So she's great, and she works with a partner, and I don't even know her partner, oddly, even though I've kind of followed her. I've followed her slightly, but you guys can follow people and put them in like see first. I don't know if you do that, like where you're following someone or like them, and then you need to go and see them first, because otherwise you see a ton of people in your news feed, and if you're scrolling your news feed, then you're not working your business, and you shouldn't be doing that. Like, I scroll through like 10 people and I see the same 10 people, but it's the people I'm following first, and then it's like you guys, like it's the people that I comment on their stuff the most, right? But she was in my stuff, but not like at the top, and I just started following her like see first, and I like copy and paste everything she says, not like on my page, but like in my messages so I can like rework it, right? Because in her quotes, I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. So she reminds me a lot of reading this book at the same time, because it's just the same kind of like in your face mentality that I really like. Of course, she says that like empowering women, and I'm like, oh great, I just did my new header and that's what it says. So awesome. So I might need to rework that. But okay, so her points, you know, thinking long term. And a lot of us on here are already in it for the long term. Like, I know Crystal's why, I know Megan's why, I know Carmen's why. Like, they've been here over a year, they're here long term. Someone like Ashley and Brittany are new, but you have to look at this long term. You can't look at this like, oh, I'm going to be a success starter, or I'm going to make a couple $100, or I'm going to make back my investment. Like, you have to like wrap your mind around like what you can do in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and beyond. And that might seem like a long time away, but it's not, because John just told me today that Frozen came out 4 years ago, and I'm like, no shit, like are you serious? Frozen came out 4 years ago? I'm like, no way, like, no way. And he's like, yeah, it was only 4. And I'm like, you were only 4 years ago? Like, Waterworks. I'm like, oh my God. Like, time happens very quickly. So, and your kids, when you have kids, will put it in perspective. I'm like, oh, you were 4 years ago, and Frozen came out. All right, happy Valentine's Day. Get out of the car, I gotta go work. I'm just kidding. But talking about building the relationship like long term, like, we are all about this on this team. It's one of the things that I don't really worry about like you guys getting, because it's what we preach. Like, if someone that is brought onto our tribe doesn't get that, like, I would be shocked, because we really invite people that we want to help, and that's who we attract. So anyways, number 2, you don't have organization or strategies. Basically, you're throwing poop at the wall. You leave money on the table if you're unorganized. Oh, guilty. Hello, right here. Yeah, I have spent many of years unorganized in my business. I am still not as organized as I can be. It's not a strength for me. That doesn't mean it's an excuse. It's just something I have to really work at, which will bring us to point number 3. Like, it's something that I have to outsource, like someone to organize my life, because I can't do it all by myself. Do you have to do that as a new coach? Am I trying to like scare you where you're like, oh, you need to hire this person, that person, and whatever? No, but when I was making a certain amount of money, I realized like that I needed help. And even listening to this 4 years in, guys, I spent 7 hours on my lead pages this weekend, and she totally called me out when I watched this, because lead pages, shoot me in the head. Like, and these are steps that you are going to have, because you're going to think long term. Like, you're going to have a lead page, you're going to have a web page, and are you going to build it yourself? Because it's awful. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm trying to make it cute, but it's taking so many hours, and it's hours that I cannot spend inviting to my team, which has to always be like 90% of your focus is like building your team. Yes, I got to outsource that, girl. I have to there's so many great websites, guys. There's Fiverr is a great website, Fiv, I think it's VVER, and thumbtack.com. I've outsourced, like, thumbtack.com, the girl did my whole like opt-in, which is like this tracker that's Coach K tracker. Like, I gave her like what I wanted to do, but like I had a vision, but I don't have time to sit on Photoshop and create it and do all those things. So those are the things that you have to outsource. So organization leading into like, you have to outsource the things that you're not really good at. You can't outsource inviting. You can't outsource the conversation. So a side note on the conversation, you know, when you're inviting all these people, messages, you're always going to have all these follow-ups. I mean, like, let's just pick a number. I invite 20 people. 15 people give me crickets, so I'm going to have to follow up with those people. And I follow up with them, or I start these conversations. Those turn into a couple more conversations. Then you have all these conversations going on. I have done a disservice to the team and to myself by not suggesting this amazing line that I just shared with Colleen today. She sent me this message, because I always tell my coaches, any of you guys, anyone, if you have a response, you don't know what to say, like, send it to me. Like, I'll tell you what I would say, right? So she sends me this response, like, what do I say? And I respond back, hey, do you have 10 minutes? I'd love to jump on the phone with you in the next couple of days. Well, Colleen writes back and she's like, sure, when do you want to talk? And I'm like, no, that's what you write the other person. Like, when do you want to get on the phone? Let's talk. You guys got to get on the phone with people and talk. It was so funny. She's like, I'm on cough medicine. I'm sorry. But you got to get on the phone with people and talk, because otherwise it's this message back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And if we go to step 2 and you're unorganized, you have no idea how many times over the last few years that I have gone to follow up with someone 1-2 months later, and it was like this message that was in limbo of like they could sign up at any moment, and then it just got left hanging because of me not following up, me not answering their question, them, like, me having a response, a follow-up question. It's not that I didn't answer their message. Sometimes that's the case because of Facebook sucks sometimes. But, you know, whatever the miscommunication was, the lack of organization was, if we had just got on the phone and you had like a running list of like, these were my phone conversations, these are the better conversations you're going to have. You can really dig into a 3-day, 3-month conversation in 10 minutes of what you want to accomplish. Will there still be follow-up? Are they all going to sign up? No, but that was a side note. Not sorry. Okay, so her next point, and they can hear the passion. Yeah, they can hear me, like they can hear my voice. And that's why I leave a lot of voice messages too on Facebook for people. And a lot of people have never even seen that feature. Like they're like, I'll send people a voice message and they're like, how did you just do that? I'm like, oh, there's a little microphone. And then they start messaging you back. Lots of you guys know how to do that, but people want to hear your voice. Like, even if it's like, I don't know, like I'm busy, I'll leave them a 20-second message and be like, girl, I am busy. Everyone is busy. Your neighbor is busy. Like, who is sitting around doing nothing? No one. Everyone is busy. But that's what I say to people. Like, that's the person I want to attract too. Like, I think Megan's right. Like, your voice and your passion and your excitement, like that goes into her last thing where it's like, who's your message for? Like, pick who you want to talk to and pick who you don't want to talk to, because you can't work with everyone. But I want to empower all women, so I might keep that on my little header. Okay, so did you buy a job or create a business? And this goes into delegation, but I love the way she puts this. Like, I don't want you to think, I mean, who wants you to think of it as buying a job? Like, okay, like this is my job. And are you going to have days like that? Yes, guys, you are. Like, it's freaking life. Like, you are going to have days like that. When I say, I didn't know I can do that until Blaine voice messaged me. And Ashley, the queen of some voice messages, she'll talk to you. She want to talk, girl. Yeah. She wants to hear your voice. If you talk to Ashley, if you send her a message, you better send it in a voice message, girl. That's how she communicates. I love it. I love it too, Ashley. Okay, so buy a job. Like, sometimes you can get in it. Guys, some days it's life. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's not all day 30 of the whole 30. It's not. We wish it could be, but most days are 1 through 29, and every once in a while, day 30 pops up, and you're like, yes. Even day 30 sucks. Day 31 is what you're looking for. Day 31, not day 1 through 30. Day 1's okay too, because you're like, yes, I got this. It's day 1. And day 31's just as equally as good. So I don't want you to think that you're buying into another job because you are trying to get out of the cubicle rut and all that kind of jazz. I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I end on the get over your damn self. But drop your ego, work your genius zone. That's all about delegating. Landing pages, not my genius zone. And who is your client avatar? What is a lot of the stuff she talked about in point 4? We're not creating our programs, not that you couldn't in some way in the future. There's a lot of things with Beachbody that is a stepping stone for another business for you to create. Like I often say, you might not seem like you're passionate about Beachbody or multi-level marketing or coaching or whatever it is, but it's a stepping stone to possibly doing something else. So for example, this business was a stepping stone for my husband and I to get into the real estate industry. And it seems not connected, but the amount of PD that goes into my brain and comes out of my mouth into my husband's ear has forced him to look at life in a different way over the last few years. It has forced him to read some books that opened his eyes to new ideas, which is a blessing. And it has forced him to think like, I don't have to work at my job that I've been at for 17 years the rest of my life if I don't want to. When we have been in a position for 15, 16 years where he thought he would work that job for the rest of his life, that's what he would do. Like, he has a good job, he would go to his cubicle and work it, but it's opened his eyes to a lot of things. So I'm not even saying it has to be related to the health and fitness industry, but it certainly could. It could branch off into someone like you just watched, Angie Lee, being a business entrepreneur, helping other health and fitness coaches. She helps a lot of businesses, but like there's people that have different niches. So, but our programs are already really created with price and that sort of stuff. But I have worked with coaches, and I'm sure you guys will at some point, or you've thought this yourself, where you're like, I just want to help people. I don't really want to, I don't feel like we should charge anyone for what we do. Okay, well, that would be nice, but I have bills to pay, and I'm not doing this for fun. Like, let's be real. Is it all about the money? No, I like what I do. I think it's very rewarding. I think I help a lot of people. I think it's an amazing, amazing community that we're a part of. But I pour my heart and soul into these people and into my coaches, and that deserves something in return. So I'm not going to feel guilty that Beachbody chooses to pay me for selling a challenge pack. Good on them. Like, go ahead. Give me my $70. Thank you very much. So it's nice that our program's already created, but you have to be real with yourself on that. Like, you don't have, I want to say don't have any type of guilt. If you do, like, let's talk about it, because you are providing an amazing service. And if you're not, then let's talk about that. Like, you should be providing an amazing service to the people that you work with, customers and coaches. Are you always going to be perfect? No, because you're human. Like, we all mess up. We all have bad months. We all have stuff going on. We all get sick. We all got jobs. We all got kids. We all got all this whatever going on. So life happens, but are you doing your best? No try. Oh, I want to try to work out. I'm going to try to work my business today. No, I hope. I hope to get on the team call. What is that? Like, you like hope? What is that? Try is a lie. Hope is a bunch of BS, in my opinion, too. Like, you either do it or you don't. Like, you make the doctor appointment, you make the hair appointment, and you show up to the effing appointment. Like, I don't miss a hair appointment. Like, it's on the books. I am going to the hair appointment, and I don't miss my invites. I'm making my invites. I suck at workouts, except for the last 5 days. But I've been reminded by several coaches over and over again, like, put it on your freaking schedule, Kimberly. So it's on my schedule. My workout is, and it's a big range. It's 6:30 to 8 in the morning. So I can sleep in till 7 and still squeeze it in, or I can get up at 6:30. And if it's 30 minutes, then I have like all this extra time that I'm like, I feel so good. I just worked out. I have an hour to like send invites and tell everyone about it. But it's on my schedule, like no negotiation anymore. So what is your message? Who are you talking to? Who are you not talking to? I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with this. Like, she called me out with the whole, like, I want to barf with the empowering women. I'm like, I just redid, and I didn't do it. I outsourced my freaking header to say that. Someone tell me, like, why didn't my girl tell me not to write that? But now I'm like, I don't want to redo it. It's so cute, but we'll see how that goes. I outsource things like that, like a cute header. I mean, you can get that done for super cheap, guys. Like, and you might be like, oh, it's not cheap. It's $50. That's what I made for a challenge pack. Yeah, but then you're thinking short term. You're not thinking long term. Like, will that cute header bring in like more people? Will, like, you know what I mean? Like, will it bring in 3 challenge packs if I have more of a professional appearance? Things like that. Yeah. What did you say? You can still empower, just not all of them. Yeah. I should have that in caps. Empowering women, just not all of them. So who are you not talking to? And I struggle with my avatar. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So if you struggle with this, like, if you struggle with anything, it's freaking normal. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just trying to fail forward. We're all just trying, and some of it takes longer than others. Like, I preach this on so many old calls, you wouldn't even believe it. I don't talk about it as much because I've gotten over a lot of it, but comparison is the thief of joy. So I am comfortable following top coaches. I am comfortable following people that rock it because I don't compare myself to them. The first couple years I was in the business, I did. I was like, I'm not her. I'm not that skinny. I'm not that pretty. I'm not that young. I'm not that this. La 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 la. Like, I can't do that. But I don't do that anymore. I just learn from them. I just copy and paste their posts and into my messages, my private messages, and I learn from them. I'm like, what is there? And I said this to Summer recently because we're working on that operation duplication group where you have to be diamond to get into the group. But it's really about like, I'm like, you have to follow these people and you have to look at their page and look at your page and say, what's different? Like, what's different? And a lot of times I follow people's pages, and luckily I'm like, you know what? Like, it's not that much different. Like, I have more likes than hers, or I have this or that. But then I go over to their Instagram and I'm like, oh, because they have 30,000 followers on Instagram. So clearly they're killing it over here. So let me check that out. But it's really studying people and seeing what's working for top people. So, but who are you talking to? Who are you not? This is a great activity. There's lots of worksheets if you're interested in like diving into this, like what your market is, because if you don't have kids, you can't talk to women that have had kids. You can't be like, oh, like I was at my highest weight after 3 pregnancies. Like, I get to say that. If you haven't had 3 kids, like, you don't get to say that, right? And we all, like, people that are like, I struggle with an eating disorder in high school. I don't get to say that. Like, I didn't struggle with an eating disorder. That wasn't anything that I've ever had a trouble with or experienced. So that's not my story, but you're definitely targeting certain people. You don't want to make it so small that you only work with like people with eating disorders, or I'll certainly work with people without kids, but like, I definitely relate more to moms that are like, oh, I constantly hear in my news feed, like, this is the biggest I've ever been. Like, this is the biggest I've ever been. And I was at that point. And it's probably because I say that over and over and over and over again, where I kind of hit the rock bottom spot. But not everyone's at that point. Like, Brittany, you don't have a huge weight loss transformation. Amanda Pompa doesn't have a huge weight loss transformation, but she has so much to share as far as like her mental health and, what exercise does for, she was a personal trainer, but what exercise does for her, and like her page is about modifications because of chronic back issues and things like that. So she's targeting a different kind of person, than I am necessarily. I'm all about some modifications too, so I won't lie about that. I'll target those people too. But okay, let me read the chat, or if anyone wants to unmute, feel free. Outsource. All right, I think I answered all these. All right. Okay, I have another video to share for you guys. And this girl is Emily Kearby. She's number 7 in the company as of as of January. Like, I think she ended 2016 at 25, and I saw her in some groups sharing, and then so I started following her, like as far as follow, top of news, see first. You go to follow, and then it's like standard, default, or last, or like see first. So there's only like 15 people you can see first. And so when I open my news feed, I see those people first. I see Emily Kearby, I see Angie Lee, I see Joel Osteen, I see who else do I follow first? I just started refollowing Melanie Mitro, who's the top coach. I didn't follow her for a long time because I felt like she's the top coach. Like, I can't do what she does. Like, I don't have the backing that she does. But guys, she posts just like we should be posting. Like, she posts in such a great way, like sharing about her challenge groups and sharing about Shakeology and sharing her life, and she does it great. So you guys can pull up a list of the top 25 coaches at any time. That's a great place to choose from. And what I'll do is, like, for a while I was watching like a lot of people in the top 25, and I see like who I connect with. So who I connect with is going to be different than you guys, but there's some people I'll give them like a month or so, and after a while I'm like, I never save any of their stuff, or I don't connect with it. And they're great coaches. They're in the top 25, but we just don't have anything in common. Like, it's nothing that I'm going to connect with her with, but those are great people to follow. Again, if you do this, you have to not have the comparison trap. Like, get it out of your mind. Comparison is the thief of joy. I'm not asking you to compare yourself to them or be them. I'm asking you to learn from them. Like, success leaves clues. Follow their footsteps. Like, they are going to leave you amazing clues of how they run their business. So, like, people that show up on the National Wake Up Call, sometimes I'll, follow them, or people that speak at Super Saturdays that might not be in the top 25. Like, at Super Saturday in January, I don't know if anyone started following Jen Guthrie. She was 5-star that, like, talked on the video, like, that they showed, and she's been fun to follow. Like, there's fun people that show up in my newsfeed right away. All right, so next video. Well, that's not what I meant to do. Share screen. Okay. I think one of these is Megan's post that I just copied. You're on there, girl. I copy your stuff.
Ask this question. Hey, Facebook friends, I never, ever go Facebook Live, but I get asked this question, honestly, almost every day, and I've had a lot of people ask me to make a video on this topic, so I figured the easiest way to do this would just be to go live for you guys. So I get asked a lot, not necessarily even what I do or how I do it, but how I found the courage to go after something that was kind of scary, but was really my dream life or my dream job, and is a little bit non-traditional. So I kind of wanted to take you through that journey, and I guess just my findings and my insight, and really what gave me the courage to make the jumps that I did. So it might seem pulled together at this point. It might seem like I might have it all figured out, but 3 years ago, it was such a hot mess express. And so I want you guys to know that if you feel like you could never go after something crazy or big or really cool because you don't have it all together, I was definitely that person. I was literally, you guys, living in my mom's basement. I was a super senior in college, dropout. So I did not get my degree. I was a finance and insurance double major. And the reason I think why I was so uninspired with those topics and why I had such a hard time, I don't know, getting through that, was because I had no desire to end up in the cubicle life. I had no desire to work 40 hours a week for somebody else. I just believed, before I even was into fitness, I believed that there was a better way to live. I believed that that wasn't the only option, I guess I should say. And so at this point where, I'm kind of failing, I'm finding my way in the world, I am totally feeling like a lost little puppy. I'm also 50 pounds overweight. And so my self-confidence is very low. I definitely don't have beliefs that I can go out there and do great things. And lucky enough, and I really do kind of feel lucky for it at this point, but lucky enough, I decided to focus on me, right? My fitness and my nutrition. And that was a breaking point, right? That was like a bottom out point for me. I really had to feel like absolute crap, really lose a lot of my self-confidence, really get to a point where I could not feel that way any longer before I personally decided to take action on my fitness journey. So I did, and you guys know that. That is what I do now. I am a fitness coach. But I went through this really cool journey with Nick, my fiance, and we just really fell in love with taking care of ourselves. And through my weight loss journey, through my 50-pound, weight loss, I found a real love, not just for weight loss or like physical transformations, but really for giving other people a belief system in themselves, I guess. And I knew that that was my passion. That, yeah, it was really cool to lose, 48 pounds and to not feel like crap anymore and to be proud of the body that I was in. But I was noticing that I was confident in myself again. And I believed that I could do whatever I wanted. And I just felt so powerful. And I felt like that my purpose was to give other people that feeling. And I know a lot of you, whatever it might be for you, I know that you feel driven to do one certain thing, or you feel your heart calling you to do a specific thing. And kind of my moment that I had to have with myself was, am I really 110% happy, I guess? When I was not doing what I'm doing now, when I was thinking about the cubicle life, and I was a waitress, that was what I did. I waited tables for 5 years, and I always called it, not so lovingly, my soul-sucking job. I hated it. I didn't like it, and I wasn't 110% happy. I was like 60% happy, I would say, and I just came to the realization that life is short, and that I should be happy, that I should be happy, I should enjoy what I do, I should live a life full of purpose, and I decided that for me, I was going to find a way to get involved with giving people those transformations like I wanted. I had no idea how yet, but I knew I wanted to. I knew I wanted to do that, and I knew that if I was living a life that was passionate, that was good enough for me, I guess. I just had a feeling that the rest would work itself out, and I knew that if I was doing something that I loved, I would work really hard in it, and I would have very inspired work, and that I just felt like that was my heart's calling. So that was the realization I had to have. So my question to you is, are you 110% happy? And if not, I genuinely believe that you deserve to be. I really don't think that there should be an area of your life that you hate. I just don't think that that's true. I think that that's kind of a lie that we're told. Like, it's okay to not like your job, or it's okay to not like what you do. I really think we're here on this earth for more of a purpose than to just pay our bills. I really do. And that's just my belief system, and maybe yours is different, but I knew that I wanted to do something. So I kind of had to have this moment with myself where I went through the worst case scenarios. I went through the worst case scenario of my current situation, which was, okay, so maybe I finish out my finance degree and I end up working in a bank and I end up working 40 hours a week until I'm 65 and can retire or whatever. And I don't love it, but I get by, and I can pay my bills happily and I have health benefits and whatever and all this stuff, right? But worst case scenario in that lane is I'm sad all the time because I don't like what I'm doing. I fall into depressive states. Maybe I end up, and I'm going worst case scenario here, so maybe I end up just completely, having horrible relationships with people because I'm an angry person. Maybe I end up self-medicating with food like I had in the past, or with alcohol, or whatever it might be. So I really had to have that worst case scenario, and I figured out, how I would feel, I guess, when I got to be 70 and looking back on life, and I did not want to be full of regret. I guess that was a big thing for me. So that was my worst case scenario, was that I would get to this point. We have a train going by. We live right by a train, you guys. It's going on by. It's so loud. But that was my biggest fear, I guess, was regret. Now, with doing something that I loved, I guess the worst case scenario was that I would fail. But that worst case scenario, I could still go back and do the finance gig, right? So I was like, okay, well, I really have no reason to be fearful. Worst case scenario, and I think a lot of people's minds instantly go to what other people will think, and I want you to not base your life decisions off of that. This is a huge piece of advice right here. If you're taking life advice from somebody that you would not switch shoes with today, this instant, you probably shouldn't take life advice from them. You can love them and you can have them in your life, But if you would instantly trade places with them, maybe they shouldn't dictate where your life is going. You know what I mean? So that was kind of something that I had to figure out. And also, if you're lucky enough to know what you love, like if you have a passion, a purpose here on this earth, you know that you want to get involved in whatever area, you want to do whatever your heart is calling you to do. If you're lucky enough to know what that is, do you have any idea how many people out there have no idea what they want to do? They have no hobbies, they have no sense of self, they have no self-purpose. If you're lucky enough to have that, I feel like it's our responsibility to act on that. I really do. And then I think a big thing that I had to realize too, and this is something that I tell all my girls and I tell anybody really, like, why not you? And this is a real question because there's answers behind this. It's not just a cheesy saying. Why not you? Why can't you be successful? Why can't you do what you want to do? Why can somebody else do it and you cannot? What are those reasons that you think that you would fail at it? A lot of times, again, they're kind of silly reasons that we've worked up in our heads that really aren't as big as we think. You know, like, why not me? Why can't I be successful if anybody else out there can at whatever I want to do? Because the odds are, number one, they're working really hard at what they do. And number two, they had enough, I guess, confidence, self-courage, you know, to just jump and do it. And I think just making that decision, just deciding that you're going to go after what you like and what you love and what you want to do, that's huge. That puts you light years ahead of anybody else, right? And then having resiliency and not giving up is huge. And that's just going to be your power player right there. And then know that whatever your heart is calling you to do, whatever your passion is, you're going to have to work hard at it. Nothing worth having comes easy. I think that's important to know. It's very easy, you know, especially working on social media. I think that we see a lot of highlight reels, you know. How cute is this cup? So cute. But we see a lot of highlight reels, and so we kind of assume that, like, everything's put together and life is so easy. Like, I have people all the time who just assume that, like, I'm just over here taking fun pictures and that's all that I do, right? There's a lot of back work going on. I work really hard. And I think no matter what you want to do, if you love it, and you love it enough that you're willing to work hard at it every single day, right? That's where greatness can happen. And I think that inspired work is the best work. So that's just my 2 cents. And that was kind of my personal journey, was I had this, like, why not me mentality. If anybody else can do what I want to do, so can I. And if not, why? You know, why? Why would I think that? And then kind of battling those self-limiting beliefs. If there is a self-limiting belief in your mind where you're like, well, I can't do this because whatever. And I think especially in, like, the online world, I know some of you are thinking, like, well, I'm going to do this or that. I mean, we can compare how we look, we can compare skills, we can compare life circumstances, and that's a very easy game to play. But if I would have done that, I was 21 years old, living in my mom's basement, so in debt. I had just, you know, gotten my fitness together, but I was a college dropout, super senior. I was definitely not the face of motivation or inspiration. And so I really, if I would have let those self-limiting beliefs rule me or dictate me or decide who I am, I wouldn't be here today. I had to take a leap of faith and believe in myself before anybody else would believe in me. And so I think that's really important. And I think if it's something that you're contemplating, you know, going after a new career or trying something out or going down a new life path, whatever that might be, life is short. And if you love it, I say go for it. You know, educate yourself. Make sure that you're ready to work hard. But if your heart's in the right place, and if you know that that's your calling, what are you waiting for? Really, what are you waiting for? Because the days are just going to go by. And the longer that you wait, the harder it gets to jump, the harder it gets to actually make things happen. So that's my insight. You guys have asked me a lot, you know, kind of where I found the courage, how I ended up doing what I'm doing. It definitely wasn't a crystal clear path for me. I had to hit a lot of rock bottoms. I had to really figure out what I didn't want to do before I found what I wanted to do. But I hope that that's helpful. I hope it gives you guidance and maybe, you know, the push that you need to chase after your dreams. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.
Okay, she's so cute, you want to puke because she's adorable. Like, I follow her and she wears like black, gray, and white, and her whole house is black, gray, and white. Like in every picture, I'm like, oh my God, like my life is a shit show compared to yours. But that's me comparing myself to you. And I love what she talks about, the comparison, because it would be so easy for me to be like, oh, well, she was only 20 something and she doesn't have kids and she's not married. And I'm like, but those are all reasons that it can make it so much harder. Like I did graduate with a business degree and I have owned a business and I do have a supportive husband and my kids are in school, so why can't I use that as a positive? Like, everything that you use to hold you back, you can turn around and make it a positive. I have people that are like, well, you know, like, so-and-so would be better because they, you know, they're fit and they're in the fitness industry. And then that same person will say, well, so-and-so has a better story because she's lost 30 pounds. She's lost 40 pounds. She has a success story. I'm like, you both are amazing. You both have something to give. You're talking to different people, though. You're talking to people that are fit and want to stay fit. Or you're talking to people that want to lose the last 10 or 15 pounds. And you're talking to someone that wants to lose 50, 60, 70 pounds. Like, we all have someone to talk to. We all have different avatars. But let me see. Did anyone write in the chat while she's talking? Yeah, Emily Kirby. They're still where I move forward. Love this. Okay, yeah, this girl, she's great. So yeah, she's number 7 in the company right now. She's young, obviously, but so some of her points that I wrote down is, so my purpose is really similar to hers, and it might be the same for you guys, is giving others a belief system in themselves. And my purpose is, yes, to do that through health and fitness to start with, but more importantly through a business. Like, I want to help people build a business through giving them the belief system that they can do it. So I love her. Like, we always say, why not you? I have a t-shirt that says, why not you? But it's not just a cheesy saying. Like, write it down at the top of a piece of paper and ask yourself, why not you? List the reasons why you think not and send them to me, and I will overcome each one of those objections, because I'm really good at that. You can overcome anything that you think, why not you? But as you start to write, like, why not you? Or they're all excuses. We can go through them all. Why not you? Like, why not? When you start to compare yourself with anyone in this business, and I'm not saying you have to be number 7. I'm not saying you have to want to be number 25. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm shooting for. Do I have income or financial goals? Absolutely. Like, I'm shooting for some of those things, but I'll be happy failing those people by 90%. I really would. Like, if I fail the Millionaires Club by 90%, I'm still making 6 figures and I'm super happy. Like, that's okay. Like, what do you want to make? And maybe you're like, Kimberly, I just want to make an extra $300 a month and pay my car payment. That's fine too. Like, there's no wrong answer. It's what you want to do. But, you know, like I said, I show these videos because sometimes when it comes out of my mouth, it doesn't sound the same as it comes out of someone else's mouth. And you guys connect with different people, and I get that. But sometimes you've stopped dreaming. Like, you've allowed yourself to stop dreaming. And this comes out of the many, many books, but Get Over Your Damn Self, which, don't worry, I'm not going to go over the next 3 minutes. Like, we'll save that book for another day. But we've just stopped dreaming. And I didn't even dream the first year and a half I was in this business. Like, I kept telling Summer, I was like, I'm living the perfect day. Like, I have a husband that has a great job and makes good money, and I stay at home with my kids, and I have this side hobby business. I ran a chocolate business, guys, for 7 years. 7 years. And because I needed that purpose in me, like, I needed to bring in some income. I needed to be creative. I needed to talk to people that weren't 4 years old some days. Like, I needed that outlet, and that was it for me. And someone wrote me today, and they're like, hey, did you have a bunch of orders for Valentine's? And I was like, no, I actually, shared that I was done a year ago, last January, like, that it would be done. And so last year was my last year kind of fulfilling a couple big orders, a couple small orders. This year, a girl wrote me last week and asked me to do a job, and I said, yeah, it'll be $100. She's like, oh, I don't think I can pay that. Like, maybe I should do it myself. And I was like, that's fine. Like, the hours to money that I was making dipping chocolates, my time was worth $100, because she was going to take 2 hours of my time. And I guarantee you, if I send invites for 2 hours, I'm going to sell one or two challenge packs, and that's $140. So that's what dipping cake balls is, lady. Like, because it's a time to money ratio. And that's the same as working in a cubicle, honestly. Like, it was a hobby. So anyways, get off on a sidetrack there. But if you want it to be a hobby, you can make it a hobby and you can rock it out. Like, you can make your $300 and make your car payment, or you can put it into savings, or you can pay off debt, or you can go on a kick-ass vacation every year. Like, whatever you want it to be, like, have some purpose behind it. What do you want it to be? Like, I know, Brittany, I think you're a great example, because I know, like, you and Teresa love what you do, but do you love, my question is, do you love, you don't have to answer me right now, do you love doing it for someone else? Or would you like to do what you do, like, for you, like, in the future, long term? Like, would you like it to be under your thing? Like, a lot of people love personal training, but they don't like working for a gym, or they don't want to own their own gym. Like, even people that I know on this team that own their own gym, like, do I want to own my own gym anymore? Because it's a different scenario. Multi-level marketing, guys, we have the ability to make money in our sleep. When I go to bed tonight, you guys are still generating volume. Like, I'm still making money in my sleep. Like, it's an amazing thing. Yeah, definitely want more flexibility. I think that's what it is. That's what, and I know you're reading Get Over Your Damn Self, but, which is just fun to say, right? To tell people that. It's the flexibility. Like, it's just calling out, like, I want to be in charge of who I hang out with, like, who I work with, when I work, what my hours are. Like, it's not that I don't love work, because really you can't be, it's not it's not net, what'd she say, not net slacking marketing, it's networking marketing. I love that. It's not net slack marketing. I mean, it's still a job, it's still hard work, and Emily said that. Yeah, we're here more for a purpose than paying our bills, though. And one of her last points is, like, and she did not say this. This is how I interpret when I write down my notes. So I said, "Who gives a shit what other people think of you?" That's not what she said. She said it really nicely, so sweetly. But I love her comparison. Like, when people are giving you advice, would you change places with that person right now? Think of all the people that give you freaking advice. Like, is this really going to work? Like, I don't know. Like, I've had people be like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like, it's probably not true. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, but do you want to change places with that person right now? And I look at the person, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want to be you. At the very least, when you talk about, like, what's the worst that can happen, the worst that can happen is you get on this call with me twice a month and you're surrounded by amazing people. You're surrounded by an amazing community. I'm looking at some of my best friends in the world, and I didn't know them 4 years ago. So at the very least, you'll go to amazing events. You will meet people that would not be in your life without this company, period. They wouldn't be in this company without a Facebook ad. Ashley was brought on from a Facebook ad that Blaine ran. You know, Megan was brought on because she saw a hokey sweatshirt on a call like this that we were on. Like, you know, I mean, I know Brittany now because Teresa brought her on, but I know Teresa because I know Leslie, and I know Leslie because I went to high school with her husband. Like, you just don't freaking know who these people are going to bring into your life and what you're going to do from them. And that is the worst that could happen. I mean, that's crazy, right? And so when I have that in my mind, when I'm inviting people, I'm like, the worst thing I could offer them is an amazing friendship, either with me or someone else. It might not even be me that they really connect to, but I guarantee somewhere on this team, they're going to find a connection. So, so that's all I have. I was going to talk about more, but I didn't think that was going to take an hour, but clearly I underestimate how much I talk. So if you don't have Get Over Your Damn Self yet, I would get it, because we'll talk about it more on future calls. But the girl who wrote it is from Rodan and Fields, and it sounds like she's talking to Beachbody coaches when she talks. I'm like, holy crap, like, you are talking to us. And because she gets it, it's network marketing. So, I Googled her so I could see a picture of her, and I was like, what does this girl look like? How old is she? Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, like, I can do that. Like, why not you? Like, I was like, I can do what she's doing. Like, all the things. Like, I wanted to talk about her things, like 4 reasons why people fail, but I did post them in Team Ignite, and they were posted in Team Courage too, because we've been talking about them in a few groups. But if you haven't seen that, try to search for that in either one of the teams as far as why people fail, because that's like, I think that's a good place to identify where you need to work on. Like, someone's going to pick one of the numbers. Like, no one's going to be like, if you say like, oh, I've got all that down, then okay, good for you. You're probably making $100,000 a year like this girl is, right? And not the case for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't make myself uncomfortable enough. And you guys might be like, oh, you're really good at invites, or you're this or that. But I shy away from the phone, and I shy away from, until recently, like adding new friends. Now I add friends like it's my job. So if me and you guys have more than 10 mutual friends that aren't coaches, they will be my friend pretty soon. Just watch out. It's just a matter of time. And I kind of feel bad. I was like, oh, she's mutual friends with so-and-so. And I'm like, all right, friend request sent. I'm going to invite her. So I'm adding a lot of new friends. But okay, guys, any questions? I know there's lots in the chat. Miss you guys. Abby, are you going to Summit? Yes? Okay, good. And Ashley, happy birthday again, girl. So sweet of you to join us. I appreciate that. And you've been on the fence and we nailed it? Get out of town. All right, I won't go back all the way, but yeah, okay. I hope you guys got some value out of tonight, and I always like seeing your faces, and thanks for taking some time on Valentine's Day to hang out with me. I love you guys, and we will see each other soon. Have a good night.